The Stanley Cup and the NHL draft is now behind us, and bam, it's time to look ahead to free agency. We have a few local teams with some deep pockets, and they're looking to make some big improvements. New York Post Ethan Sears joins us to discuss some of the big names that's hitting the free agent market this year. Ethan, let's jump into it and let's talk money, because the unanimous #1 free agent target is Johnny Gaudreau. Gaudreau is a Jersey boy, and the Devils and Isles are both rumored to be potential landing spots. Do you see this happening?
Well, first of all, it's definitely still a possibility that Gaudreau ends up staying in Calgary. They can offer him an extra year, 8 years instead of 7, and he's rumored to be sitting on an offer from there, according to some reports from Calgary. If he does leave, the fit is definitely there with the Islanders and with the Devils, but the Islanders would have to clear some money off their books. They don't necessarily have the cap space to go after him without doing that. The Devils do, and it would obviously be a big splash for them. I would also look at the Flyers as another potential team that's close to where he grew up in South Jersey. They would be another team that would have to make some moves to clear the space for him. But for a player like that, that's what you do.
Free agency is all about numbers and math. Both those teams look to add a great player, but the Rangers could potentially subtract from their roster. They have 2 potential great players that they could lose, one in Andrew Kopp and Ryan Strome and Frank Vetrano. Do you think New York can keep either one of these 3?
Right now, Kopp and Strome definitely seem likely to go to market. That doesn't necessarily mean that they won't turn around on day 2 of free agency and decide that staying in New York is the better fit. But right now, it seems unlikely. I think Tyler Mott, another guy who they brought in at the deadline, is somebody who might be a little more affordable to bring back for the Rangers. But everything depends on what they do with that center position, where if Strome and Kopp both leave, they're going to need to find somebody to play on that second line.
Yeah, they can't afford to lose those 2. And Frank Vetrano did say that he has unfinished business here in New York. So let's look outside the local teams. We have some modern-day legends like Patrice Bergeron, Yevgeny Malkin, and Claude Giroux hitting the market. Where do you see these guys potentially landing?
Well, Bergeron, it seems like the choice is really between staying in Boston for another year or retiring. I think it's very unlikely that he would go anywhere else. As for Malkin, it seems like things are at a bit of an impasse with him and the Penguins, but along similar lines, it would be very surprising to see him in a different uniform, albeit seemingly more likely than Bergeron. And as for Giroux, the rumored landing spot seems to be Ottawa right now. That's, I believe, where his family is. And the Senators have made some moves. They added Alex DeBrincat at the draft and might be a bit more competitive next year, although they're still a ways off from contending for a Stanley Cup.
Giroux can land up in the nation's capital in Canada. NHL free agency begins on Wednesday. Ethan, I'm sure we'll be talking to you again soon, my man. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Brandon.